friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda. I obviously love all things books, and today, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be doing yet another book haul. If you've seen my other videos, I have had 2 book hauls already in the last couple of months, and I think I said in the first one that it was going to be like my last book haul for a while. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. And as much as I would love to say that after this one, I'll be on a book buying ban, the reality is that books keep coming out. What am I supposed to do? Just not buy them? We live in a world, unfortunately, where being able to have access to books is on the brink of disappearing. So I'm going to blame it on that, along with very obviously the fact that I have no self-control. So here are the 29 books that I just bought on vacation. Hi, I'm still here. This is so overwhelming to look at it now that I'm seeing it this way, when you realize you have a problem. Yeah, I think I realized that I have a little bit of a problem. So I'm gonna go through these in some sort of order because I did buy them all in separate places, and some of them it's like important where they were bought. The first thing that I bought, honestly, here's the actual story as to why these particular books got bought. On vacation, my mom and I had planned on going shopping. She gave me money to go shopping, which is where all of this nonsense came from. So you can thank her for forcing me to buy a new bookshelf because I'm gonna need one after this book haul. But the first time that we went shopping, we went to this area of Daytona where there's a Barnes & Noble. And in Barnes & Noble, like this particular Barnes & Noble is like a mini. If you've seen these new Barnes & Noble bookstores, they are really, really small. Like the one right next to my apartment, hella small, and it sucks compared to like the one that's downtown that's really nice. We went into this Barnes & Noble. Their selection was mid at best. I'll insert a clip right here so you can see it. They just didn't have a whole lot that I wanted. And on top of that, Barnes & Noble kills me with their book prices because you can literally go anywhere else and get books cheaper than they are at Barnes & Noble. And to me, supporting one corporation over the other, at least let me save a buck somewhere, you know? Yeah, at Barnes & Noble, the only thing I bought were things that I could only get at Barnes & Noble. That was the entire Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. These are the brand new Barnes & Noble edition paperback covers. Here's the first one. This is called House of Flame and Shadow, by the way. At least I think that's the first one. You know what? I don't know. I do know that this is the second one. So they're really similar to the hardcover copies, but they are slightly different. This one is House of Sky and Breath. And then what may or may not be the last one is House of Earth and Blood. I am very excited to have these. I am slowly buying my way through Sarah J. Maas before I read all of her books. And I actually went out this morning intentionally trying to buy books 2 and 3 of ACOTAR because I only have the first one and I refuse to read it until I have all of them, or at least the first 3, and literally couldn't find the second one. So gonna have to get that another time. But anyway, the first 3 books that I bought were Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. The next stack of books here were all bought at some sort of a really, really bizarre discount. The first one is Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was such an interesting find for me because I just read my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and this one was literally next on my list. Like, of her entire backlist, this is the one that interests me the most. I found this at TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx is now selling books. You heard me. How much does this book cost? $10.99 for the hardcover that is essentially in perfect condition, aside from like, there's a little bit of a messy thing right here. But $11? Are you kidding me? I could literally not pass it up. Now this other stack of 6 books here, these were all bought at a place that I totally forgot existed Not to mention that I forgot that it existed, but I forgot that they had books. And that is Ollie's. If you've never heard of this store, it's like Ollie's Bargain something. It is literally like a yard sale inside of a store. It is messy and cheap and weird, and I forgot that they have books. I haven't been to an Ollie's since I got back into reading last year, so I wasn't aware that they had good books. All of these are just things that I have seen that are popular, that are technically on my want to read list. The first one we are starting with is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This was only $3.99. It is in perfect condition. I am literally shook. The second book is Expiration Dates by Rebecca Serle. This one I'm interested in because the audiobook, I believe, is on Kindle, or it's on Audible for free, one or the other, but I wanted to just also have the physical copy as well, because I know that that one is going to be quite an emotional read. The next one is You Love Me by Kepnes. So this one is intriguing to me because I read her book, You, the first one, when the first season of the Netflix show came out. So back in like 2018 or something. Technically, there is a second book in that series. Oh gosh, what is that called? Hidden Bodies. I don't know where this falls into like that world, but I want to get back into it because I love Joe so much. He's such a psychopath. He's a lovable psychopath. And yeah, I just wanted to get back into this world, so You Love Me. The next book is Big Little Spells by Hazel Beck. This one it's one of those that I've just seen around, and it obviously is some sort of witchy something. We're now into September, and the witchy vibes are definitely going to start coming out, so had to do it. The next one that I bought is Tokyo Dreaming by Emiko Jean. I have the first one of this, so I figured why not pick up the second one for only $5. I couldn't say no. The next one is Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. I have just been wanting to read a Jasmine Guillory book and figured this was a good place to start of any. And the last book that I got there is Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. I'm sure you've heard this woman's name somewhere. I have not read any of her books yet, but she seems to be someone that people really, really, really love. Kind of like a cult classic kind of a situation. Like I'm sure Emily Henry and Taylor Jenkins Reid are going to be cult classics at some point. That's kind of how I feel about this author. Again, I know this is going to be another emotional read. Yeah, couldn't say no. So these were all under $5. So that was $4.99. This was $3.99. This was $3.99. This was $3.99. This was $4.99. And then also $4.99. Between buying all 6 of these books, this was under $25. Gotta go back to Ollie's. Moving into the other books. The other books that I bought are all exclusively, besides two, they are all, three. Let me count these again real quick. So besides 3, the rest of these are fantasy books. Yeah, I am so excited to get into reading fantasy that I just absolutely went crazy with my mom's shopping money. Let's get into it. I'm just gonna start at the top and not go in any sort of an order because I don't feel like organizing these again. But the first one that I bought is something I know I'm not going to get to for quite some time, just because I have heard from other people about Sarah A. Parker's writing, that it's very lyrical, which, can sometimes require more brain power than just a simplistic writing style. This is a more advanced fantasy book, not to mention the fact that she a chunky bitch. This is a book that is, no spoilers, 690 pages. That's actually less than I thought it was going to be, but yeah. Anyway, I am super excited to own this. I can't say enough how excited I am that I found fantasy this year and that I enjoy it and that I'm wasting all of mine and my mom's hard-earned money on fantasy books. The next one is not a fantasy book. This one is the second book in a duology in which I already own the first one, and I haven't read it yet because I don't own the second one. So I did finally pick up Now You're Mine by Morgan Bridges. This is a dark stalker romance. That's all I know about it. The next 3 books that I bought are a very well-loved series that I finally decided to cave into, and that is the Powerless series. So I bought Powerless, Reckless, and Fearless. I didn't buy the novellas yet because as I was looking at all of them, they mentioned that they were a Powerless story. So I assumed that I didn't need to read those in order to read these, but I will look up the reading order just to make sure. And if I have to buy the novellas, then I have to buy the novellas. Put the gun to my head, you know? The next book that I bought is not fantasy, at least I don't think. It's just dark romance, I think. And that is Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight with the sprayed edges. I'm pretty sure this one is just a dark mafia romance, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess we'll find out. I've just been really craving something dark and spicy. So the next book that I bought, I'm so excited about. However, I'm really sad that I didn't buy the entire trilogy. I'm gonna have to go back and buy it. But that is Light Lark by Alex Astor. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. It's been out for a bit. This one just seems super intriguing. It's a YA fantasy, so it's gonna be super bingeable and easy to read, and I can't wait. The next book I've already read and read very recently, and simply needed the trophy for it because I absolutely needed this book on my shelf, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you've not read this book, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is, at the moment, the #1 read of the year. Easily the best book I've read all year. And is probably like in my top 5, top 10, we'll say top 10 books that I've ever read, ever. This was absolutely heartbreaking, broke me, put me back together. After reading this, I understand the hype of TJR because that girl can write. My goodness, go read this book. The next book that I bought, I feel slightly guilty about buying it because it is on my Kindle right now, as I'm sure a lot of these books probably are. This one is like already downloaded on my Kindle, but I have a feeling that I'm gonna love it so much that I needed to buy it. I was also flabbergasted that this was in a store because I thought this was an indie book. It is Direbound by Sable Sorensen. I am so excited to read this. This was what I almost picked up before I started reading Quicksilver, so she is probably next on my list. I am very excited. Love the whole direwolf situation from Game of Thrones, and yeah, just literally can't wait to dive into this world. The next book that I bought sheerly because of the cover and seeing people on Fable reading it recently, and that is called A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McCowan. Ooh. I've also bought a lot of hardcovers, which is very interesting. It's, you know, not my favorite thing to read, but since getting through Silver Elite, they've kind of grown on me. Excited about that. The next 2 books I bought are gonna be the start of like their own collection. I know that when I read this, I'm gonna be completely obsessed and I'm gonna need to read all of them and I'm gonna need to own all of them. And that is Zodiac Academy. I am finally giving in to the hype of Zodiac Academy. So I bought the first one, and I also bought the first book in one of the other Twisted Sisters series called Never Keep. I think this is their most recent series that they started. We're getting into the Twisted Sisters universe, and I literally cannot wait. I am so excited. I know I'm gonna be obsessed. I can't wait. Oh my God. The next book that I bought, again, it's something that I have just seen all over my Fable. And specifically, I saw that this is a Why Choose book. And I haven't read a lot of Why Choose, but the ones that I read, I was like, why choose? I didn't know that was an option. So even the front says, why choose one when you can have them all? This is the Never List by Jade Presley. Beautiful sprayed edges, beautiful hardcover. Can't wait to read this. Literally no idea what it's about. The next book that I bought is an interesting one to me. It is downloaded on my Kindle right now. I saw someone's review on Fable recently, and it's not necessarily someone that I like trust or like, you know, really value their opinion about books or anything. But for some reason, seeing this negative review like really put me off this book for some reason. Like it was about to be next on my TBR, and I saw this review and I was like, womp womp. And then I was watching an Emmy video recently, and she read this book and she rated it 5 stars, and she absolutely loved it. And I trust and adore Emmy. We have really similar reading taste. So you know what? I said, fuck it, and bought it. And that is Metal Slinger. I am also very, very, very excited, much like all of these, very excited to read this book. Again, no idea what it's about, but it is a fantasy and I can't wait to jump into this world. The next book that I bought, I have been seeing it at a lot of stores. The cover was intriguing to me, but the name of the book was really like putting me off. And then I saw on Fable a couple of days ago, I added it to my TBR. Then Fable's algorithm did its algorithm thing and started showing me people's reviews of this book. And people have been absolutely loving this book. So I had to buy it, and that is For Whom the Bell Tolls. Again, no idea what this book is about, but it's another chunky fantasy book that people are loving. I am sure I will too. The next book that I bought is the second book in a duology in which I own the first one again. So it's something that I've been putting off simply because I didn't own both of the books, and that is Rebel Witch, which is the second book in the Crimson Moth duology. Words can't express how excited I am to finally read this, because the male main character in this book, I know he's gonna be my new book boyfriend, and I just can't wait. I literally can't wait. The next book that I bought, it literally just came out, and I was really on the fence about whether I wanted to buy it or not, but I just bought the first one maybe like a month ago. So when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I gotta. And that is By the Horns by Ruby Dixon. I have started reading Ruby Dixon in the last couple of months, and her writing, though plain and simple, her storytelling is wonderful. Her character development is wonderful, and I am very excited to get out of her alien universe and into her Minotaur universe. Into her Minotaur universe. Very excited about this. It's got beautiful sprayed edges. It's got beautiful character art on the inside. Love it. Love it. And on to the last book, book 29. I am so excited about this. I couldn't even tell you why. I have been seeing this book. I've seen it at the stores. I've passed it by many times. I don't know. In the last couple of days, I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it. How do you not stop thinking about something that you don't know anything about? I don't know, but like it's just been in my head. So the next time I saw it, I knew I had to buy it, and that is Thorn Season by Kiera Azar. This is a beautiful book. Absolutely stunning sprayed edges, beautiful dust jacket, and again has some beautiful art on the inside as well. Those were the 29 books that I bought with practically all of my vacation spending money, courtesy to my mom. Thanks, Mom, for enabling my book buying hoarding habits. If you've read any of these books, if they are your favorite, if you hated them, I don't care. If you know anything about these books, comment below. Tell me your thoughts. I would love to hear them. If you've made it thus far, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!